Hi guys, thanks so much for clicking on us, listening to the first ever Frog Kissin podcast, a Muppet podcast for everyone. Couple of quick things. We know the audio is weird and wonky. We tried for like 5 hours to get it right. Julia ran out, bought a new sound card, still didn't work. We're gonna fix that, hopefully, pretty soon. Um, Big thank you to everybody who stuck with us for the 5 months that we spent from announcing it to actually putting it out. Big giant thank you to everybody that sent in questions, comments, good wishes, supported us, everything, all that stuff. We hope we didn't disappoint you too bad. We hope that the next one will be even better, and we hope that it will from, the continued support from viewers like you. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the very first episode. Okay, I'm recording now. Or I'm starting
Do
to.
we do we just want to do like a, hey guys, welcome? I just forgot our podcast's name. Frog Kissin.
It's been so long. Yeah,
That should be that's
we need
that
to
should be
keep
the
that.
intro.
We're
Yep,
keeping
this
this
is
part.
that's it. We're going. We're going. Hi, Frog Kissin
Yeah.
podcast.
Remember
Muppets.
remember that name that we came up with like 5 months ago
Like half a
that we
year ago.
that we recorded?
Yeah, because you first suggested the podcast back in September?
Yeah, it was September. It was probably a week before Jim and Steve's birthday because I said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we had it out on his birthday?" That
And
didn't
then
happen.
See, and I remember exactly where I was. I was in a hostel here in Wellington, and I was sitting on the top bunk, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is gonna happen sometime really soon." Cut to 6 months later,
Yeah. Oh, so I
and
didn't.
here
I
we
was
are,
like, I said that we would announce it on his birthday, and
which
we
we did.
did,
We did that,
because
so we were able to announce it, and then
first,
we
the
made
first part,
everyone wait.
forever. I know, like, this is why we have 35 Twitter followers on there now.
No, we have 50 now. We
We
have
do? Oh
50
my God,
Twitter
yeah.
followers.
It was my hashtag Muppets Most Wanted. That was it, and my following about 50 people. I'm sure.
I just had a lot of people who were like, "Is it still gonna happen?" And I'm just like, "Yes, we're gonna have
Oh
a
yeah.
ladies podcast on Muppets. I just don't know when it's gonna go."
Well, it's not like we haven't been trying.
It's true.
Obviously,
We have attempted many times to start
we've
this.
tried a lot.
Should we do like proper introductions now, where we
Yeah, I
introduce
guess so that
ourselves?
yeah, so they know who the hell where they're listening to. My name is Laura. I live in North Carolina.
I'm Julia. I am 23 and I am currently living in New Zealand,
Middle Earth.
where I am right Middle Earth, okay. And for a living at this time, I knock on doors and get people to sign up and help charity, and it's a fun job.
And
Um,
usher sheep off of porches and that kind of thing. I
it's
still
only
can't.
happened once so
I
far.
I don't care. It's a sheep on a porch. That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was so weird. What else? I graduated from university last year with a double major in creative writing and theater. And my contributions to the Muppet community are that I run the Tumblr Never Too Old to Love Muppets. I write for Tough Pigs on occasion, and I'm currently writing a piece for them that will appear sometime in the next week or two. And I have a Muppet slam poem called Where the Fraggles Roam that a lot of people like and seem to know about. And
Yay!
I
You
like
should do that
and I,
later. No, I mean not
and I
now,
like
but in another show.
I was gonna say I also like hamburgers because I love hamburgers.
I know you wanted to say that.
There's a lack of hamburgers in New Zealand. That's not true. I just
That
haven't
is.
eaten any recently.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say what? I can't send you a hamburger in the mail, woman. Technically, I could, but it was not. It would not be a good one.
I don't want you to send me a hamburger.
I'm sending you
That would
pasta. I have to get you some more mac and cheese though to replace that one.
pasta.
So what's our first order of business?
Well, that was pretty much our I guess should we introduce like the
Yeah.
show, kind of like why we want to do this and why
Oh, and
we.
I don't know if I said it because I mentioned it earlier when we weren't recording that I
Hmm.
have yeah, because I have MuppetMayhem.tumblr.com. That's mine.
Yes, we run
That's mine.
probably the two. Would you say that we're the two most well-known Tumblrs on Tumblr for Muppets?
Yeah, probably next to Tough Pigs and the official Muppets one and Muppet Wiki and Muppet Mindset.
Okay, but we're
I don't know. Like, I don't know
we're
what
pr-
our
we're pretty
ranking is.
we're pretty well known. I just hit
Yeah.
I
We're
I
older
hit
than
three.
all of them, that's for sure.
We've been
Maybe,
around longer.
I don't know, maybe Ryan might have been on there still, but I don't know if his Muppet one was. Ryan Doe's.
Oh no, he didn't have a Tumblr for
I have to remember to
until
clarify.
recently. Yeah, no, because I know you were around before me on Tumblr for Muppets, but
No, I wasn't.
did I start
You
my
were
Muppet Tumblr
first.
before you?
Mm-hmm.
Was I?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure you
I'm a
did.
pioneer.
A pioneer.
Pioneer.
Yeah,
It's like a pirate pioneer,
exactly. Yeah, I think you were.
pretty
Pretty sure
much.
you were. I started on May 25th, some years ago.
I started September 2011,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I think I started in mine in 2012 in
yeah,
May. So I think you were.
I just cracked 3,000 followers recently. So
Yay!
boom,
I didn't look at
people
how
love
many I have, but it's
Muppets.
not a competition,
It's not a
so it's
competition.
that's okay.
Anyway, but back on track. Basically, you brought up the idea of us doing a podcast together back in September, and
Yep.
I was immediately just like, yes, we
And
should do that.
I said that would be a cool thing to do, and I did not for a second think I was going to do it alone. I knew I was going to do it with Julia. I knew I was going to do it
Aw.
with you.
And
Oh.
I just remember that it really appealed to me because nothing against like any of the guys, but a lot of the Muppet fan stuff that you see in the community is primarily guys, which
Yeah,
is really cool because I love them all to pieces, but you don't get too many
girls.
feminine lady
Ladies.
females,
Feminine lady people.
pretty much kind of heading things like this, and so I thought it was kind of cool for I don't know for
Yeah.
two ladies to just
And
talk about Muppets.
yeah, technically, well, I mean, we're not working for them, which is great, but we are
Yes, but
working with them, which
we're
is
associated with
awesome.
Tough Pigs, which I
Yeah.
love because
Yeah.
I love Joe and Ryan and everyone over at Tough Pigs because they're amazing.
Yeah. And I initially thought of asking them to help us with this, and then I
I
was like,
remember we talked about that,
yeah.
but I remember it was a big debate about like should we be totally affiliated with them and they get kind of they're in charge or but
Yeah.
I like we're associated with them and we talk about Tough Pigs and they're
Yeah.
awesome, but
And
it's still our baby.
it's occurred to me because I was thinking about this. I've known the people there. Well, I've been there off and on for probably almost 12 or 13 years now.
Yeah, you beat me by a long shot. I think I
Because
joined
yeah,
December. Yeah, I joined December 2011.
I don't remember when I joined because I've had like three different names on there. The one that I have now is the longest one that I've had since like 2005. But I do remember being on there when I was still in high school because Emma Shane sent me she in the mail, old school in the mail, these photocopied articles that she had about Steve Whitmire and Louise Gold
Oh, nice.
to help with my uh, report that I was doing for high school for English
Were
class.
you ever were you ever on Muppet Central?
Yeah, that's where I started basically.
That's where I started, and I was there for a year, and then I migrated to Tough Pigs.
Yeah. And I got a lot of stuff from Tough Pig. I mean, for not from Tough Pigs, but from Muppet Central for my article as well. From the interviews, the Kin Plume interviews are fantastic. If you people haven't read those yet, you need to because they're
Yes.
awesome. Muppet Central, they're like 10 years old or more now, but they're really good.
The
I
thing about
think
Muppet Central,
I think more than
like I'm
that. I
def
think they're like from the 90s,
they've
but
been
they're
around for a
still good.
while,
They have.
and I mean I'm not really on Muppet Central anymore. But the thing about them is, I remember when I first discovered the Muppets, like, and I was like so enamored. Well, not discovered them. I first kind of rekindled the love of them,
Rediscovered,
and
yeah.
I became obsessed with them. I was just like, but this is such a weird thing to be obsessed with. I'm not going to find anybody to connect with about it. But
Hmm.
then I found Muppet Central because I was Googling something about like, I think I discovered they had interviewed Jerry Nelson or something. And I went to there and I was like, oh, it's a forum.
Yeah.
I'm gonna join with this, and that's pretty much what got me going and kept me going, and
Yeah.
pretty much. So I owe a lot to Muppet Central. And I met a lot of really great people over there that I'm
Yeah,
still
that's
friends
where
with.
like, and I'm trying to think of like what when I rediscover it. I don't think that there was ever a time where it wasn't in the forefront of my mind all the time. Um, like the story I told you about Jim Henson Hour, watching that, staying
Yeah.
up past my bedtime. I have folders still from like second grade where I drew Jim Henson's face and several different
Aw.
Muppets. I know it was like the most precious thing ever. I was like, I am so adorable. Look at these. I can't really draw that well, but I tried, and it was so cute. Um, but yeah, I mean, and especially around the early to mid 90s when Nickelodeon was doing that Sunday Night Muppets. I was around
Hmm.
10 or so then. So
Yeah.
they kind of
Where,
like it's still been there. And even
yeah.
and even when it wasn't the company moving around and everything, when they weren't producing a whole lot of stuff. And I evidently we saw Muppet Christmas Carol in the theaters. I don't remember seeing Muppet Treasure Island in the theaters. I don't remember seeing Muppets from Space in the theaters. Then again, I have a really shit memory, but they were still kind of around.
I definitely didn't see Muppet Christmas Carol in theaters because I was two,
Because you were
but
too young. Yeah, no.
I do remember seeing Muppet Treasure Island because I remember being scared of like during Miss Piggy and Kermit's Long because I thought they were gonna die.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was what, like 5 or 6, and
You
so I
were a
didn't.
baby.
I was a kid, and I did see Muppets from Space in
Yeah.
theaters. But whereas yeah, because you've always kind of been a Muppet fan,
Yeah,
like
and
consistently.
me and my brother, he's 4 years older than me, and we
Yeah.
grew up on that. My mom consciously, like she would record stuff on on television, and that's what we would have on VHS. We didn't have a lot of like actual store-bought VHSs. It was just a bunch of
Hmm.
stuff that my mom recorded for us.
We did a lot of that too. That's how I had like Mr. Willoughby's Christmas tree growing up.
Wow, see, you
Um,
got that. I watched that recently. It was a bit weird.
oh, it's really weird, but I have some sentimental attachment to it, so
No,
I
I
watch it around
understand. I
Christmas time.
understand.
But no, it's interesting because like whereas you had the Muppets kind of consistently through your life, I loved them as a kid, and then
And
I
then
did not.
disappeared for a while. Yeah.
Like it's not that I stopped liking them. I just they weren't really at the forefront of my mind. And
Yeah.
then come turning like 20 years old, I got strep throat and I was stuck in bed
Ah.
for a week, and I like started watching Muppet movies, and then I started watching the Muppet Show and Fraggle Rock. I
Mhm.
remember being like so sick and going on the Muppet Wiki and memorizing all the Muppeteers' names and the characters, and just becoming fascinated with this facet of the Muppets I never really thought of, which about the
Yeah.
performers, and just becoming obsessed with the people. And
Yeah.
so, I don't know, learning about that really brought me into the community. And also the fact that I think the Muppet fandom is probably the best fandom out there. Not to be
Yes.
biased, but
No. Yeah.
like every person in the Muppet fandom is like hilarious and intelligent and nice,
Yeah.
which you don't get in a lot of the fandoms.
And what I especially like about Tough Pigs, that community in particular, if you're a dick, you're not gonna last long there. You just
No,
end up disappearing mysteriously, and we never hear from
Pr-
you again.
pretty much. Or if you're a dick, like everyone just calls you out and
Yeah.
is sarcastic and wonderful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I think that's funny what you say about the Muppet performers because, like, I've always known, Steve Whitmire was Bean Bunny and
Hmm.
Kevin was Elmo and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because that's
which that
always been the an attraction for me, I guess, was knowing who these people were that actually did this. And I think a lot of that was because of that Jim Henson Hour episode. Was
yeah,
the
and
Secret of
see,
the Muppets?
I I never saw that
You missed that,
episode,
yeah.
so yeah, and I can remember also when I had strep throat, I was kind of discovering my obsession. Like I watched a lot of the clips from like Jim Henson's memorial, and I saw like the whole medley that they
Yeah.
do, and I kind of that's the first time I really saw the other performers because obviously I knew a lot about like Jim Henson and Frank Oz,
Yeah.
but that was the first time I saw like Richard and Steve and Dave, and I was like, oh, I never even like thought about how it's a really tight knit group of people, and they were obviously like all friends and Jim's
Yeah.
passing really affected all of them, and then I cried a lot, which is how like most of my stories end, with me crying.
Yeah.
Updates on what's going on in Muppet, Fraggle, Sesame
Yeah.
news.
Hey,
There's a movie.
hey, hey, Julia,
What?
did you
Oh,
know
what? Did I know what?
there's a book out on Jim Henson?
No.
And
Oh, I
it's a
almost swore.
biography.
I almost broke our swearing thing. Really?
I've sworn twice already. I think you're fine.
Have we already been? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Really, a
I've cursed.
biography? No, I'm
Yeah,
trying to go back to this shtick. When did this biography come out?
a long 5 months ago. No, more than 5 months ago. A long time
Five.
ago.
Was
September.
it? Was it when we first thought about doing this podcast?
It was when we announced it
And
and
did we plan
decided
on
to do it.
talking a ton about?
Even though neither of us actually had the book, we totally did. I didn't get the book until
And
Christmas.
I haven't
I'm
read the book.
You haven't read it at all on your Kindle.
It never downloaded on my Kindle for some
Oh
reason.
yeah,
I
you
should
did have weird
retry that.
reasons with it. 'Cause you're in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Middle Earth,
And
you gotta go to Elron to get that shit fixed. It's just gonna be a really weird process. You gotta wait until
I
like
did.
Durin's Day for it to work. It's gonna be a hassle, I'm telling you.
Yep. Pretty much. I did try to get it from the library, but you have to pay to reserve books in New Zealand libraries, which is
What?
dumb, so
The
I'm
library
not
is
doing
supposed
that.
to be free. That's the library's whole deal, is that it is free.
Tell it to New Zealand.
Ugh.
I have not read it yet. I actually tried to purchase it recently, but both bookstores I went into didn't have it, so
Mhm.
thanks, New Zealand. But you're currently reading it.
I am halfway through.
How,
I
without
am up
spoiling things?
I'm currently up to year 1981. They're still planning out Fraggle Rock
Nice.
and still planning out the Dark Crystal.
Have you learned a lot of new things that you didn't know about Jim Henson?
There's different stuff that you kind of think that you knew about the whole time, and Jim in particular, that you think like, oh yeah, you knew he's kind of like this and kind of like this and this kind of figure, but it gets really in depth and trying to think of like the word, not animosity, but the
Mm-hmm.
jealousy that would happen between London and New York people, and
Oh,
like because when Jim was in one place, he wasn't in the other place, and everybody kind of pining for his attention because
I didn't even think
he was
about
the guy.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the reaction that you have, is that, oh yeah, that would happen, wouldn't it? Because you think of your own experience, and the person that is your boss that you look up to, that you don't want to disappoint them and you want their approval for stuff. And when they're not around, you do feel a little bit neglected, and with not getting that, and not, them being encouraging to you and that kind of thing, which, he physically like could not do all the time.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Oh, cool. No.
so that was happening when like the Muppet Show was still going on and Sesame Street was still going on, and it's starting to happen with people working on the Dark Crystal and people working on the Great Muppet Caper, where that's
y-
like the Great Muppet
Yeah.
Caper is getting pushed aside a little bit because Jim is so focused on getting the Dark Crystal made, even though there's not a whole lot of like story or anything like nailed down yet.
Okay.
It was still kind of really fragmented at the time, which I think shows in the movie, because I think that's what a lot of people agree on about the Dark Crystal, is that visually it's stunning, and it looks amazing and it's awesome, but the story is slow and kind of draggy.
Yeah. I've only seen it a couple times, but it bores me every time. I need to rewatch it because it's been a couple years, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I have it.
pretty much.
It doesn't mean I don't have it. I do have it, and there's some people that love it to death, and
I know.
I
I'm very well
wish
aware.
I wish I could see it like they do, because that would be great. So what else is new? That movie.
The
I guess that
movie.
movie comes out pretty soon.
When does it come out in the States? It
I
comes
don't
out
remember.
end of, you're in the
I
States.
know. I think it's the 23rd or the
Is it
21st or something.
I was gonna say the 21st, so I think it's the 21st of March. It
Yeah.
doesn't come out in I don't actually know when it comes out in New Zealand, so never
So
mind.
there.
I do know it comes out like April 10th, I want to say.
Yeah, so I think it is the
But
21st.
Yeah, so that's coming out soon, and obviously there's been a lot of interviews on, like, I know Gonzo and Stan the Eagle were on Jimmy Kimmel,
Yeah.
and Tina Fey was on Jimmy Fallon, and they talked about the movie.
And Fozzie and somebody else is going to be on Arsenio tonight, I'm pretty sure.
And
Or they were on last night. I just have missed it.
that's going to be exciting when that film comes out,
So,
because I
so
am looking
yay.
forward to it.
Uh,
Yay, movie.
the people that you've already watched it by the time you're listening to this, because it's already happened. I'm not sure when I'm going
Well,
to put this out, probably in a couple, 10th or something.
hopefully we'll get it out sometime soon.
Yeah, we figure out
We'll
what we're
see.
doing with that. Yep. So
Um,
the book and the movie. I have you listened? Have you heard? You know what I was doing when you called the first time, three
what
hours ago. I was listening to the We're Doing a Sequel trailer,
I
which
have
has that
I have
song.
listened I have listened to
You
We're
did?
Doing a
Okay.
Sequel. I
It's.
like it.
I know. Me too. It's very.
It reminds me of Hey a Movie quite a
Yeah.
lot, where it's very much breaking the fourth wall
Well, yeah.
and acknowledging, hey, we're doing another
Yeah.
movie
But
and it's
it
gonna be
sounds
swell.
like. Yeah. It sounds like something from the
But,
old movies,
but
which I
yeah, no,
really
it
like.
it does sound like that, definitely.
Which
And
while I did like the songs that were in the Muppets, I don't think they sounded like the old ones very much at all, which I think was fine. But
sound like they sound like fun songs, which isn't
you're breaking up bad.
because the
GLaDOS is melting down. What just
okay.
happened?
I don't know.
All right, so what were you saying? Because I missed that entire thing.
I was saying that the songs in the Muppets sound a lot like Fly the Concord songs. Me and
Yeah.
my friend we had a conversation about that the other day, how she didn't know Brett McKenzie wrote
Mhm.
the music, but as she was watching the film, she was like,
Yeah.
"This sounds like music that would be in a Fly the Concords episode."
Wow. Yeah.
Pretty
So I
much.
think maybe he's figured out how to move away from that, which is good. Where it
Yeah,
sounds
because
more Muppets
we're
than.
doing a sequel. Definitely sounds like something that would be in one of the earlier Muppet films,
Yeah,
which is
I like
cool.
that. And
Yeah. So
Manor Muppet, yeah, it really does sound Flight of the Conchords-ish, especially that
I
one.
I still can't believe Manor Muppet has an Oscar.
That's awesome.
It's really awesome. Although I
Their
personally I
competition wasn't too stiff, so I think they were
no,
alright.
that's very true. I thought that Life's a Happy Song was going to get it actually. Like
Yeah,
I thought that
I
was
like that one. I like that one better than
I
Manor Muppet
listen
Hotel.
to it more often. It has more of an Oscar
Beep, beep, beep,
winning
beep.
feel to it.
Yeah,
Like it's a little bit more serious, just a little bit.
yeah,
Whereas Manor Muppet's a little ridiculous, but
yeah.
whatever. They have an Oscar,
Look,
so that's all I care about.
dude, Lynn Deer has an Oscar. We're good.
Our last piece of updated news is that Tough Pigs is doing a Muppet Vault.
Yep.
It's happening on March 19th at 7:30 p.m. in Brooklyn, and it's called the Big Muppet Quiz Thing. And they're going to do a bunch of like quiz questions and quiz questions. That's repetitive.
Ah,
Trivia questions, and yeah, pretty much just kind of celebrating the upcoming film. And there'll be prizes, and it's going to be hosted by Tough Pigs. So
quiz. Yeah,
go
quiz
to it.
questions. Is that like money dollars?
I don't. They didn't say what the prizes were. They just said tons of great prizes.
I said quiz questions. Is that like money dollars?
Oh, oh, I wasn't. I did
That's a
not
Tough Pigs
comprehend at
thing.
all what you meant.
That's a Tough
Yes,
Pigs joke. You remember?
I do.
I
I
love that.
do.
I say that on occasion, like in real life. It's like, how
Good.
much money dollars is that? Yeah. Not like to
But
normal people. That would be weird, but to my friends.
but yes, people should go if you're in the New York area. Go to the Muppet Vault because it will be awesome.
I want to go one day. One day when I have money dollars to make the trip.
When I have when I have more money dollars and when I'm in the same
Yeah, when you're in the
hemisphere,
same country. Yeah, hemisphere, yeah.
pretty much.
Hmm.
Anyway, keeping us on track, moving right along. Ho ho ho,
You see what you did.
Muppet pun. Ho
Yay.
ho.
Yay.
So pretty much we're doing character of the week,
Yep.
and what character did you choose to do, Laura? Because
I
it's your turn this week.
I chose to do Vicki from the Jim Henson Hour because I think out of the Jim Henson characters, out of a lot of characters, she is most like I am. because I too was once a stage manager. No, but I like her. She was really fun, and it was kind of like they gave Fran Brill a character that was a little too much like Prairie Dawn, you know?
Yeah.
They tried to like recapture that magic. She was kind of like Prairie Dawn grown up. Maybe not as
It's
OCD as she is.
it's funny you say that because we had someone write in, Robin, who her Tumblr name is Non-Muppet Facts, which you guys should all check out. She wrote, "I feel like Prairie Dawn and Vicki could be sisters. They are very like-minded. Or perhaps Prairie Dawn decided to change her name when she grew up and became Vicki." So there you go.
I think that's a bit of a stretch,
I
but
think it's a
yeah,
bit of a stretch too, but
yeah,
they could be sisters
which
maybe.
makes me think
I don't know too much about Vicki as a character. Just
she's
because,
basically Prairie Dawn.
yeah,
Really.
that's true.
I
I
like
mean,
her though.
I've seen all of the Jim Henson Hour, as I was telling you earlier, but I've only seen all of it really once, and so I don't
Yeah,
remember too much about Vicki besides that she was kind of the stage manager-esque person.
yeah.
And Fran played her, obviously.
But yeah, the what I remember from the Muppets, the Secret of the Muppets. See, look at me calling Muppet Secret again because that's what Mom wrote on the VHS, and that was the only thing that was on there, and it was in pencil. And then one day somebody recorded over it, and my world ended. And I'm not kidding.
Aw,
Yeah, you know, Vicky, and I knew from what Fran said that that kind of summed up the character because she didn't really mean it.
yeah.
When she said, but she's so unpredictable, and she really wasn't. But I like Vicky. I like her.
Um,
She tries to keep the boss on track. Like she
mhm.
calls Kermit boss in chief. I like that. It's cute.
And the only thing someone else wrote in was Duck Duck Noose said, "My name is Vicky. I have been watching the Muppets since I was in daycare, but I never knew there was a Muppet named Vicky. Go figure. I love her and wish you would come back for a cameo." It's a
I
little,
would like that. That would be
yeah.
awesome.
I'd
Oh
be
my
so,
God.
well,
If we saw Digit again, I would lose my mind.
I was about to say, I'd be really surprised if the Jim Henson characters ever came back, but at the same time, I guess that would be actually kind of cool. But
Yeah,
I would be
I
very
think
surprised.
um I'm trying to think. I like, we'll see.
What
We haven't
was
seen Bean Bunny in a while, but yeah.
I'm
Clifford
sure
wasn't.
I'm
Clifford was
sure
Muppets
Bean
Tonight.
Bunny will come back. Was Clifford a Jim Henson
N-
Hour character?
no, he started in Muppets Tonight. Leon might be the one you're thinking of. That's the one that Kevin did. That was his
No,
main
yeah, no,
character for Muppets.
I know he did Leon on there. Well, it's because Clifford came out.
Oh no,
He
shit,
was
you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. He was
yeah,
part
because
of the band. Oh my God. He was
that's
part of the
right.
band.
Well, because I knew that he came around a bit earlier because in Jim's last interview ever, he was introducing Clifford.
That was on the Arsenio Hall show, right?
Yup,
Wasn't it? Yay! We're
pretty
smart.
much.
We know about weird Muppet stuff. Um,
We're
yeah,
we're
no, you're
smart.
right. I can't believe I forgot that because he was in Solid Foam, which is where I get my screen name from that I've had for the past 10 years or so. Solid
Yes,
Foam Soul is it's my live journal handle now and what I use for
nice.
most username things.
Should we move on to our musical segment, which I don't know how I guess we'll
Yeah.
just cut it
Still,
in here.
yeah, I'll cut it and still talking about Fran Brill. This is from the Jim Henson Hour. I want to be a dog's best friend.
Ever since I was a little pup, just a half a hydrant high, I dreamed of how when I grew up, I'd fall madly in love with the one perfect guy. I wanna be a dog's best friend, but I can't make up my mind. I wanna be a dog's best friend, looking for a dog, but I don't know what kind. I can take or leave retrievers, and the huskies leave me cold. Pointers I find pointless, and hound dogs look so old. Dobermans, I'll pinch you. Greyhounds give me the blues. Bassets I find boring, but they usually have nice shoes. I wanna be a dog's best friend. he's a big dog. I don't care if he's rich. He'll be my ever-loving puppy. And I'll just be his.
Welcome to family programming, folks.
I've walked all over Afghans. Hairy sheepdogs aren't all there. And as if you hadn't guessed, I think Great Danes are only fair. So where does my searching heart lead? It's a multiple choice question of breed. But when I find true love, the answer's none of the above. 'Cause the rules are land when you're a dog's best
Now that's dog music. She's hitting notes so high it's enough to turn your woofer into a tweeter.
Okay, we're recording these separately, but thanks to the magic of editing, it's going to sound like we're recording them together at the same time.
We are totally in the same room right now, and not pasted together thanks to audio editing software.
Ready?
Ready when you are, Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan Rowe, and who are you?
Hi, I'm Joe Hennis, and who's this dapper gentleman to my right?
That's right, Joe, and we're from 1, 2, 3...
toughpigs.com.
And you're listening to a podcast. Hey, Joe, what podcast are they listening to?
Ha ha ha! You said it, Ryan.
That's right, it's Frog Kissin, an official podcast of toughpigs.com.
Hey, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
Great job, Joe.
Sorry, can we do another take?
You're welcome.
Our main topic for this first episode that we're doing is kind of female performers and characters. Yeah, just because, over the years, the Muppets is kind of a boys, I don't want to say boys game, but...
Boys club. It's a boys club.
Boys club, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because they have always been a bit more prominent, and by a bit, I mean a lot.
And by a bit, you mean
90%.
1 to 8 ratio kind of thing going on.
Pretty much, unfortunately, because there aren't... I'm sure you could probably count all the female Muppet performers on your fingers and toes.
It's gotten a lot better recently, especially in Sesame Street.
Because I remember me and you had this conversation about how if you look at Sesame Street, it's great. They've got a ton of female characters, a ton of female performers. Yeah. Fraggle Rock was all right because they did a better job kind of evening out the ratio.
Yeah, and the female characters and performers, 2 of them were the main characters.
Exactly.
Which was not.
But then then you get Muppets, which I love Muppets quite obviously, but
with the core group that comes from the Muppet Show basically. So that's where they were the weakest in the female puppeteer area. Not necessarily, characters as well. We got Miss Piggy, we got Janice.
And then I guess you have Annie Sue as well, and Hilda, but even so, they're not central characters.
But if you said, "Hey, who's your favorite Muppet?" to somebody on the street, they are not going to say fucking Annie Sue Pig. That's not happening. Really
yeah,
not.
It's true. And Camilla also.
And Camilla.
But I mean, if you look at those 3 main female Muppets, they are all played by guys as well.
Yeah.
Which, nothing to say. I love Frank Oz. I wouldn't want anyone else playing Miss Piggy, quite honestly.
Right.
And I mean, it was a problem back then, and I want to say that they're doing a better job. But if you look at the Central Muppets nowadays, they haven't added in any new female characters.
Yeah.
There aren't all the core Muppet performers right now are dudes.
And to be fair, the only Muppet characters that they have added, really, in the past 20 years now, because we're old, is Pepe and Walter.
Well, I mean, yeah, Bobo.
Yeah, Bobo. Well, he's not really a core dude, though. I mean,
Yeah,
he kind
he
of is.
is.
Well, he kind of is, but
He's been in like every production
he's not
since he was
Pepe.
created. He's not like Pepe relevant, but he's been in all the Christmas stuff,
Yeah,
and
but I think
he
that's
was in the
just
last movie.
with the addition of Bill, so that Bill got a core character to do.
Do you know who's a new female character they created? Miss Poggy, but it's a dude playing it.
Who?
Her. So, Miss Poogie,
Oh,
the Muppet.
yeah, that's but not
Antithesis of
no. I
Mix
mean
Piggy.
that was a. I don't think she counts, honestly.
Yeah. Well, she's
I
gonna
don't.
be in the next film.
Oh, is she? We'll talk about the new characters in the new movie later.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
For Muppets Tonight, they kind of tried to bring in, because they brought in Leslie.
Yeah.
But I mean, they gave her characters like what was it, Spamela Anderson?
Yeah.
Where all her jokes had to do with like her boobs, and
she was
a hot
she
pig.
was so dated too, because
I know
it was Baywatch, and because they had the Baywatch parody, that was what she was created to be, Pamela Anderson. So she's gonna get dated, just like Polly Darton.
Pretty much.
They were created to be that parody character, and then
and she didn't really get any other like main characters on that show.
She came back in the comics. She was Snow White for some reason. I don't know why. I really don't. She was pretty, I guess, for a pig. I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's just,
she didn't really have much of a character, is what I'm saying. I don't know if she's kind and good and every princess like. I don't know.
But yeah, something we've talked a lot about, how it kind of makes more sense that there were less females and female characters, I guess, in the past, because there weren't quite as many female performers back then.
Yeah.
Like when they first kicked off.
Fran Brill did not even start as a puppeteer.
I did know that.
She was just an actress that auditioned for it or whatever.
And then now she's a puppeteer. It's kind of like Jerry Nelson didn't consider himself a puppeteer for a long time.
And Frank, he didn't want to do it. Not really.
Pretty much. But
and Jim, so for that matter.
Yeah, so it made more sense in the past, but like nowadays there are so many female performers, and I mean, I know I said that there aren't really any female performers nowadays and are working with the Muppets, but there are. They're doing all the background characters.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't not talk about Jane.
Didn't Jane? Yeah, because she started out helping out with like friggin' Sam and Friends.
Yeah, she was the other half. It was her and Jim, and that was it. And neither of them did voices for a while, and then Jim started doing voices, and she didn't do any, I don't think.
And I mean, as we said, like Sesame Street's done an awesome job. Again, back in the day, they really only had like male Muppet characters, but like if you look at it nowadays, they've got like Zoe was what created. I have it written down. Zoe was created. Zoe. Sorry, I don't know why I was calling her Zoe.
Because you're reading it, and that's what your brain does.
I am. She was created in 1994. Rosita was 1991. They've got Abby. Yeah. I feel like there are more characters I can't think of at this moment. Yeah, and they've also got Prairie Dawn, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got Fran, Leslie, Carmen, Pam, and Stephanie.
Yeah. On
the show right now, and that's a good lot of people.
In comparison, they're doing a lot better than the Muppet Show did, and the Muppet core characters and that kind of thing. They're like the shining star.
With Sesame Street, I feel like they probably saw it as a necessity just because it is a show meant for children, and so it is very important they have that equal representation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, also looking at, like, the actual, like, people on the show, they have a really good balance of not only males and females, but people of different races and ages, and Sesame Street's just good at that because they have to be.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing. That's the whole reason why. Was to represent who is not being represented. I think with especially with the Muppets, it was just who they had available. They didn't have any females, and then they got Fran, so they had their female,
Yeah, well, they got Fran, and they had Erin for the first season or two.
And she's not mentioned at all in the book. Well, I think they.
Oh, really?
Her and John Lovelady, they're mentioned. They are literally mentioned. I think. I don't recall reading Erin's name.
This is awful and off topic, but I always forget about John Lovelady. And then I remember that he was there, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like a bad person. Anyway, And then they did have Louise, and she was a lot more prominent for the Muppet Show compared to all the other female
especially in the
top
songs and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Kathy and Karen came along for the last couple, and then it was, pretty good.
Then they did Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, and then, I don't know why, I just think it's funny how you said it, Fraggle Rock. Not Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock. Yeah, but other than Red and Moki and Cotterpin,
there was another female. They had another female performer on Fraggle Rock. They had Trish.
Yeah,
Trish Sleeper.
She did the right hand. She was Ma Gorg. Oh, I can't believe I forgot Ma.
Yeah, and she was Tosh.
Yeah, oh yeah, I like Tosh Fraggle.
Nickley Blogs asked a really interesting question off of Tumblr. Do you view Miss Piggy as a feminist icon, and is your answer affected at all by the fact that she's performed by a man? I do. I have always seen her as kind of a feminist icon, despite the fact that she's always been performed by Frank or Eric.
Yeah.
Just because, the character is a very strong female. It's kind of, did you see that Tumblr post that was floating around with, like, the famous quote about, like, right women that are flawed, right women that are strong, that cry and chase men, and,
I replied to that, or I reblogged it, and I said, finally. I think, or somebody did.
Oh, and I probably reblogged it off you. And that's always been Miss Piggy for me. She's this really like boisterous, loud, independent female, but at the same time, she's not afraid to fall in love and be sensitive and vulnerable.
And my favorite moments are when she is shown being vulnerable, because she normally isn't.
Definitely.
You know her for being aggressive and brash, and the karate chops, which she only kind of does to bad guys now, which I like a lot. Because before,
everybody.
Like Jim says, violence is funny when it happens to puppets. However, beating up your boyfriend, not a good example. It's not a good female example. Anyway, I think we know her for being a diva, but when Kermit yells at her in the park and she starts to cry, and then he gets upset. I mean, I like that. I like that stuff too.
I do too.
She's a woman with needs.
I love Miss Piggy.
She's
and I mean, even though she's always been played by guys, that's never really taken away from the fact that she's a strong female character.
I mean,
quite honestly, I would never recast her with anyone besides Frank Oz, and then obviously Eric playing her. But I mean, if
down the line. Way down the line, when Eric retires, if a female steps up and can do this character and can do Miss Piggy well, then that would be awesome.
That would be wonderful. Although I got to be completely honest, like whenever I'm feeling down, if I want to feel happy, I just imagine Frank Oz in the recording booth singing. Singing. Why can't I think of the name? Never Before and Never Again.
Yeah.
Like imagining him performing that song as a person just cracks me up.
Yeah, I like to do that too. When I'm listening to the stuff, just seeing them in the studio doing it is a lot of fun.
That and then also Forget You in the new Muppet movie. I like to imagine Matt Vogel singing that. It just makes me happy.
And whenever the chickens, I always think of when they were doing it at Jim Henson's memorial. Mm-hmm. And Steve has said, like, you would kill yourself laughing looking at our faces when we perform these characters.
Yeah.
Because the faces that we make to do this is ridiculous, something like that.
Yeah, I do know. But back on topic, and I guess just to wrap it up, pretty dumb question, but like in the future, would you like to see more female Muppet performers and characters?
Yes, we would. Why the hell would we not? Why would we not?
I'd love it if they brought in even people from Sesame Street, bring over Stephanie and bring back Leslie and, give them, characters, give them male characters, give them female characters, give them characters.
Somebody, anybody.
Yeah. Which I don't think we're going to see any new female characters in this upcoming movie. So maybe in a future movie we can get a new female character or two
or even bring back the old ones. You know who I would want to see brought back because she's awesome and kind of scares me?
Who?
Sandra.
Yeah, that would be wicked. Pretty much. Well, I know that Annie Sue's, I think, in the movie coming up.
Yeah, she is supposed to be in that.
And so is Wanda.
Yeah.
From Wayne and Wanda.
How about Wanda and Wayne?
Oh yeah, and
That's
they were in the
pretty
last
cool.
one too.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll have some lines and not just
I know.
the kids
I like
gang.
this trend of just like digging out old puppets and
Dog and pretty much
that we get to see them again. And I think it is a testament to Disney. But we'll talk about what Disney's doing with them later.
Yes,
That's another podcast, because
that'll be another podcast.
Way so much time.
Do you have anything else to touch on for the female performers or characters, or was that pretty much it? I'm sure we'll talk about this a lot in the future, just because there's so much you can say about it. Oh, I forgot. We asked some people who their favorite performers were. Yeah, Lover Dreamers, you said that's hard to answer. Laura Schaaf, who is at TwillCom1. It's a tie between Louise Gold and Karen Prell. My good friend Rachel, who's at Rach Sanders, said Karen Prell for sure. And our favorite guy, FrogFan76, can you guess who he said? Can you guess who he said?
Mildred Huckstetter.
Who else would he say? Anyway,
even though Mildred is not a Muppet performer, but you know,
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to him.
He just saw female, and that's who came to mind.
Awesome. Let's go into our second musical segment, which is...
Okay, it's Lime in the Coconut from The Muppet Show. I was listening to this on my iPod, Jesus, whatever it is. I'm old. My iPod, and I was thinking about when I would listen to it as a kid on the record that we had. I knew it was Jerry Nelson doing the doctor. I knew it was Kermit, you know. I didn't know who the females were, I guess because, you know, when you're a kid, you don't think about it. I didn't think, oh, who are these lady performers? Are they Muppets? I assumed that one of them was a guest star. I don't know. I didn't think about it. I think that's a lot of society and doctrine as well. When you think about the dudes, you don't really think about the ladies.
Exactly.
Just saying. So I, had a good listen, and it's Kathy and Luis being awesome. And so I really started to pay attention to their part. I can't figure out who the monkey is.
I don't know.
So
I have no idea.
If somebody knows, let me know. So that's what it is. Lime in the Coconut from The Muppet Show. I forget which episode, but there you go.
Frog, he bought a coconut, he bought it for a dime. His nephew had another one, he paid it for a lime.
True.
He put the lime in the coconut, he drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut, drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut, drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut. He called the doctor, woke him up and said,
Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I say, Doctor, to relieve this flipper ache. I said, Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I say, Doctor, to relieve this flipper ache.
Now let me get this straight. You put the lime in the coconut, you drag them both up. You put the lime in the coconut, you drag them both up.
You put the lime in the coconut, he drank them both up.
You put the lime in the coconut, you call your doctor, woke him up, said,
Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I said, Doctor,
to relieve this flipper ache. I said, Doctor,
ain't there nothing I can take? I said,
Doctor, to relieve this flipper ache.
You put the lime in the coconut, you drag them both together. Put the lime in the coconut, then you feel better. Put the lime in the coconut, you drag them both up. Put the lime in the coconut and call me in the morning.
Hey, what's going on?
He bought a coconut, he bought a coconut, he had another one, he paid it for another one. He put the lime in the coconut, he drank them both up. He put the lime in the coconut, and called the doctor, woke him up, said, Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I said, Doctor, doctor, I said, Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I said, Doctor,
If you call me in the morning, I'll tell you what to do.
I love that song.
Yay! It's great.
That was the worst, segue back into it. Awesome.
That's
Okay,
so
so we
that's
gotta...
so apparent that you totally didn't listen to it. We'll put it in later.
All right, we've got to wrap this up quickly. So,
Yeah.
Muppeteer of the Week, where we basically spend 10 to 15 seconds raving about a Muppeteer. And this week's Muppeteer is... drumroll.
Steve. I can't do a drum
Steve.
roll. I can't do it. You could do it on the Google Hangout thing.
Oh, you can't. I'll do it. We'll figure that out later. Basically...
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that.
We love Steve. Steve is amazing. I could rant forever about how much I admire him for stepping up and taking over Kermit, and how great he's just been doing over the years, and how I love his characters and him as a person, because he's awesome.
He has pretty hair.
I know way too much about his hair. Fun fact,
You've written an article about his hair.
I wrote an article, that was my first article for Tough Pigs. I wrote about how his hair has changed every decade and how it reflects on his characters and his life.
Now that's a segue.
That's a segue into
No.
what?
No, I meant that was a segue. I gave you a segue to talk about your article.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
But yes,
Steve,
Laura, you love
Steve,
Steve.
with Steve, it was love at first sight. I was 7 years old, staying up late, staying up after my bedtime. I snuck out of my bed to watch the Jim Henson Hour episode, Secret of the Muppets. And Bean Bunny says, and a lot cuter too. And I said, no, Bean, you're not. You're really not. I'm sorry, Bean. It's not true. Yeah. And that's when he had the perm, so you know that I truly loved that man, even with that
with the perm.
with the 80s hair.
Not gonna lie, I think him with the perm is my favorite. The picture of him holding Wembley when he has the perm.
Yeah, but
it's too
hair,
good.
His hair, that's not. I don't know. His hair's a lot shorter, so it kind of looked better. I don't know. It was. Look, his Rapunzel magical hair. We'll talk about that all day long. Yeah. So Steve Whitmire. We'll probably continuously just talk about him randomly because he's the best.
He'll just pop up in conversation always.
That
but
just happens.
That was our Muppeteer of the Week. We gotta move on because we've wasted way too much time. Questions. Basically, let's see. Non-Muppet Fact says, this isn't a question, it's a statement, but I think it's sweet.
It's really nice.
I'm super excited that both of you lovely gals are teaming up to do this podcast. Both of your personalities really shine through in text, and I bet you're great Wait, sorry, I messed that up. Both of your personalities really shine through in text. I bet your great enthusiasm for all things Muppets will be in more fun in audio. There were some typos in there. I didn't mess that up.
Wait,
anyway,
you didn't have to say it. You called her out on her typos. You didn't have to say
Oh, I'm sorry. That was from our friend Robin, who's lovely and wonderful, and thank you for saying that, Robin.
Yeah, that was very nice of you.
Cliff and Kendall. This is my favorite question.
Yeah.
Cliff and Kendall asked...
They also have a podcast, by the way.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
Yeah, I checked
but
it
they
out.
asked, so was Janice always high or what? If so, that would only make me love her more.
For sure, really. You know she was.
Yeah, she was.
She probably was.
Probably.
Yeah,
considering she's based on Janis Joplin.
Maybe not all the time.
A lot of the time. Not gonna lie.
Look, normal people's eyes don't look like that. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. To be fair, normal people don't look like Janice to begin with, but
true,
because she's a puppet.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
But she's one of my favorites. So
I'm moving on.
All right.
We have to keep going. Crawler asked what our favorite The Muppet Show episode is. I want to say the John Cleese one.
Yeah.
Probably, because that's a good one all around. Or the Madeline Kahn one. That's between those two.
I can't pick
What's
just
your favorite?
one, so I'm gonna name 5.
Okay.
Elton John, not in order. Elton John, Danny Kaye, Gene Kelly, Harry Belafonte, and Gilda Radner. And Steve Whitmire. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Steve Martin. That episode is just gold. Steve Martin's episode.
Those were all really good episodes. The Gilda Radner one's probably my third favorite, actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it. Nikki Blogs from Tumblr asked, what are some of the ways the Muppets inspired you while you were growing up? Name 2 of the characters that inspired you the most. And we kind of already touched on being inspired by them.
Yeah.
But who are the 2 characters that have inspired you the most? Gonna say Gonzo, which is a given because it's me, and probably Miss Piggy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say Miss Piggy and Gonzo.
How so? How so for Miss Piggy, even though we need to not get into long discussions?
She's just a strong, keeping it short, she's just
Yeah.
a strong female character who, not entirely identified with, but definitely certain aspects of her, and I
Yeah.
don't know. And then Gonzo just, he does what he loves to do, and he doesn't care what everyone thinks about him, so that's
Yeah.
a pretty good outlook on life, even if he's a little strange.
Those are good answers. I'm gonna steal your answers. But I also say Kermit too. Because
Kermit's,
when
yeah.
he, especially one of the scenes that really spoke to me, I guess, as a kid, was when he was, and kind of confused me, but I'd be surprised if it didn't confuse every kid when they watched it for the first time. It's in the Muppet movie when he was talking to himself, when he's talking to his conscience.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it was like, he kind of gets mad that everybody's depending on him, but then, he realized that he did promise somebody, he promised.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of my favorite Kermit scenes, anyway. But Kermit, because he's just a swell guy.
Yeah, and he's just inspirational
I also
pretty much all around.
strive to be swell.
Pretty swell. Lovers, Dreamers, and You asked favorite/least favorite Muppet production. Production as in film or just like anything that they've done?
I guess anything.
Least favorite is Muppets Wizard of Oz, hands
Yeah.
down. We'll talk about that on another date, although it should be pretty self-explanatory. And my favorite is The Great Muppet Caper.
I think my favorite is probably Muppets Take Manhattan. I don't know, my least favorite would be... I told you I'm bad at lists, so asking me like my favorite anything, I'm gonna be like, but I like this, but I really like this one too. Look, all right, if you want to talk about a Muppet that inspires me, how about a Muppet that I am is frickin' Wembley. I'm not joking. I can't decide on shit.
There we go.
So there you go. Now you
okay.
know more about us too.
And Jen Bai off of Tumblr asked 2 questions. Why did you decide to make a Muppet podcast, and what are your top 5 favorite Muppeteers? We already did the podcast one.
Yeah.
And as for 5 favorite Muppeteers, I literally cannot give you 5.
What did I just
love
tell
them
you?
all.
What was her name
that's
again?
why.
What was her name?
Jen Bai? Jen B?
Jen. What did I just tell you about lists, Jen? Look, you gotta listen when we're talking to you 3 days in the past, okay? God, I don't know.
I don't have a list. I love them all. I can tell you that, like, at the top is Dave and David.
Yeah.
Personally, and Steve and Eric and Jim.
All right, I
can't do it.
I'm not gonna lie. I love Steve, Richard, and Brian the most if, I had to be, like, trapped on a desert island with them or something.
Dave's probably my favorite.
Dave and Jerry.
I love Dave.
And Fran and Karen. And, who doesn't like Karen?
I love Karen.
Mean
Kathy.
Karen Prowl. That's another tough face
And
joke.
Leslie. She's so... I love Leslie. She's hilarious.
And Carmen.
I love
Yeah.
them all. And
Camille.
in a future episode, I'll talk about my strange determination to give David Redman a hug. We need to bring back that tag on Twitter I had for forever, where it was like, hashtag Julia Gaskell wants to hug David Redman.
All right,
and people actually reblogged it. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll bring that back. So we should have a hashtag for the week.
We should.
That would be
what
awesome.
What should the hashtag for the week be?
Our hashtag for the week should be the one you just said.
It should be hashtag Julia wants to hug David Redman.
Yeah.
So all of you go and use that on your Twitters. And
in a relevant way, please.
Yes.
Okay, do we have another question? Let's just do one more.
We have one more question left, and it's probably actually not going to lie, my favorite question. A lovely listener, FrogFan76, asked, what is your favorite thing about me?
What isn't our favorite thing about FrogFan76?
I know. I don't think I can choose one.
Or Froggy. I call him Froggy.
He's pretty great all around.
Yeah. his videos. He's so very good at making videos.
He's good at making
And
videos.
he's very good about acknowledging his fans, which is, I think, is a very important thing when you're a celebrity.
That is.
When you're a celebrity
very
like
true.
he is.
He knows his Muppet facts really well.
Probably more than we do right
except
now.
Except when we ask for favorite female performers and he tells us Mildred.
Yeah, well, he's got Mildred on his mind. He just saw female and that was what came up. So
Mildred!
That's his.
Yep.
That's, to be fair, that's probably his answer for just about everything. But he's extremely funny. He's very clever.
Funny.
He's very witty.
Me and Laura and I just watched / listened to his Christmas episode before when we took a break from doing the podcast, and
Julia
I hadn't seen it before. It was very funny when he was listing off all the things he wants for Christmas and giving kind of the strange descriptions of them.
Zombie Gonzo. That's my favorite one.
Animal panties.
Yep. So
pretty much.
He's the best, and I really can't wait to talk to him later on down the line.
Because
he promises to do that.
He came on for an interview.
Yeah.
I'd love that. It would make my life. It actually would.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I've met not very many celebrities. I met William Christopher that played Father Mulcahy in MASH. That was pretty awesome.
Never seen MASH, so that just went over my head.
Well, I have. I've seen every single episode. That was a big deal for me. But I don't know. I think Frog Fan 76. I think that might top it.
I met some Hobbit actors recently.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Well, listeners.
Oh, I was gonna say about Frog Fan 76. They say not to meet your heroes, but I think that's a chance that we have to take.
It's a risk we're willing to take.
Yeah, it's a risk we're willing to take because he's so funny and he seems so nice. It's hard to believe that would be just like a put on. I don't think we have anything to worry about. But that's a little ways down the line when he can clear his schedule for us and that kind of thing. So we'll see.
His also busy schedule of watching Muppet things on repeat. Yeah.
And making his brilliant videos. I'm sure that doesn't take. That's not. He didn't throw that together like we threw this together. He has
together.
He has like teams of people, I'm sure, helping him out with that.
He's got his dad.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a lot to help out with. Anyway, okay, we could do a whole episode about Frog Fan 76. Hopefully, we will.
76.
76. Do you think that's obviously that's when the
That's
Muppet
gonna
Show.
be like that's my first question I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna be like, why 76?
Well, that's when the Muppet Show started.
Oh,
so
right. Never mind. That's.
Oops.
I'm gonna leave now. I'm a terrible fan.
I think that's a good place to end it, so we can, actually.
On the fact that I'm terrible and I can't remember dates at all.
That's okay.
This has been fun.
It has. No, it really has. I know you said that sarcastically, but it has.
No, it actually has. We should do it again next week.
Hopefully, yeah. I think maybe we can.
I think now we've actually figured out how to record, and I have a mic.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do it better. That's it for this week. And I think
thanks so much for listening.
I think it's enough for this week. Is what it is.
And if you guys managed to actually listen to that entire thing, thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
You deserve so much we cannot give.
We can give you love, though, and that's everything.
We will give you a shout out if you say something to us for the next podcast.
Definitely, we'll ask a question or something on the Twitter and Tumblr, but definitely always shoot us questions to let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the episode, this one and future ones. And obviously this is the first episode, so a lot of it was really trial and error. I had things written out, but
we know the audio is all wonky. We've been talking to each other for about 5 hours now, just trying to figure things out.
Just a lot of trial and error. It'll get better as we go along. That's all I've got to say. I'm ready to go to sleep now.
I know.
It's only 6 here. Never mind. It's midnight where you are.
Yeah, I could stay up though. It's all right. All right. These people probably can't, so we should sign off.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
And that's the secret of frog kissing. And you can do it too if you just listen. Just slow down, turn around, bend down and kiss you a frog.